What's up, guys? Jesse here back to my channel. Tonight, we're doing a review for Monday Night Raw, so let's get to it then. Alicia Taylor welcomes Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce welcomes us to Raw. Monday Night Raw. Pearce is here to address the state of the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. Pearce first calls out Io Sky and then calls out Bianca Belair, followed by Rhea Ripley. Pearce says he takes responsibility for the match last week. Excuse me, as he thought the three of them could handle this as professional. He makes the WrestleMania match a triple threat match. Belair says it doesn't matter if it's a triple threat match, and she'll win regardless. Ripley asks Belair if she thinks she's scared of her, and Belair tells her to sign the contract as she got what she wanted. Sky gets in the middle, and she's pushed away. Sky goes to walk away, and missile drop kicks Ripley into Belair. The Judgment Day is backstage, and Finn Balor tells Dominic Mysterio wanting to be the Intercontinental Championship. Liv Morgan tells him that's why she's got him put in the match for it at WrestleMania. Balor tells Mysterio everyone says he's not ready, but he believes in Mysterio. Carlito tells Mysterio he has his back. Bayley and Lara Valkyrie are make their way separately ahead of their match, which is up next. Alright, first match, WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Lara Valkyrie, who is a champion, versus Bayley. The women lock up at the bell and they both take turns taking each other down. Valkyria gets Bayley in a headlock and arm drags her, and Bayley puts Valkyria in a headlock and rolls her up for a 2 count. Valkyria trips Bayley, and Bayley then tries rolling her up for the win, but Valkyria kicks out. Bayley kicks Valkyria, and Valkyria rolls up Bayley for a 2 count. The women punch each other in the middle of the ring, and Valkyria takes down Bayley and suplexes her and covers for 2. Valkyria slaps Bayley into a submission hold, which is billed as an Irish swing. Valkyria covers and Bayley kicks out. Bayley is sent out of the ring, and Valkyria kicks Bayley through the ropes. Valkyria gets on the top rope and hits a crossbody for a 2 count, and we get commercial break. Back from commercial break, Bayley has Valkyria in a half crab in the middle of the ring. Sorry, Valkyria breaks the hold, and the women exchange forearms. Bayley gets Valkyria on the apron and hits a stunner on the apron, and then kicks Valkyria with a baseball slide. Bayley goes for a suicide dive, and Valkyria moves, sending Bayley crashing to the floor. Valkyria tries to kick Bayley, but Bayley catches her and hits Bayley the belly to the outside. Bayley gets Valkyria on her shoulders, but Valkyria counters with an arm drag and hits Nightwing and covers for a near fall. Valkyria kicks Bayley, and Bayley hits a running knee and covers for a 2 count. Valkyria and Bayley are on the top row, and Valkyria tries to power bombs Bayley, but Bayley hits a sunset flip buckle bomb on Valkyria. Valkyria hits a rope tornado DT and suplex and covers for 2. Valkyria goes for a missile drop kick, but Bayley catches her and puts her in a Boston Crab. Bayley breaks the hold, then goes for a Rose Plant, but Valkyria rolls up Bayley for the win. So winner and still Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lara Valkyria. After the match, Valkyria goes to shake Bayley's hand, but she pushes it away, but later comes back and hugs Valkyria. Alright, Kathy Kelly talks to Bert Kreischer about his new Netflix special. American Made comes by, and Chad Gable tells him that he knows he's here to watch him compete, but the Creed brothers will be competing, and so will El Grande Americano. Alpha Babes come by, and Bert is excited to see him and tells Gable he's not here to see American Made. Gable gets pissed, and American Made leave while Otis and Bert rip off their shirts. Alright, Jackie Redmond talks to AJ Styles backstage. Styles says he gets so embarrassed Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Karrion Kross and Scarlett approach Styles, and Kross says he needs the other AJ Styles to be competing. Styles tells Kross if he wants the other Styles, he can have him next week. And Styles goes to Adam Pearce to make the match. Alright, so second match coming up, LWO, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wild with Rey Mysterio versus American Made, Judas and Brutus Creed, and El Grande Americano with Ivy Nile. Wild and Brutus start the match, and Wild is speared immediately. Wild is taken down by a shoulder tackle, and Judas is tagged in. Del Toro is also tagged in, and Judas is double teamed and covered for 1 count. Wild is now tagged in, and he spins Judas, and then everyone is now in the ring, and LWO clobbers again 3 knuckle buckles, and then suicide dives onto the Creed and Americano outside the ring. All 6 men are back in the ring. LWO is superplexed by the Creed brothers of the Creeds and the Americano, and we get commercial break. Back to Raw, Julius has Lee in a headlock, and Lee punches his way out of it, and Julius clobbers Lee down. Lee kicks Julius and punches Brutus. Julius goes to suplex Lee, but Lee counters and stomps onto Julius off the top rope. Del Toro and Brutus are tagged in. Del Toro takes out both Creed brothers and kicks Brutus and hits a spinning neck breaker. Del Toro gets on the top rope and sentons onto Brutus and dives onto Julius. Americano is tagged in, and so is Lee. Lee and Del Toro hit a spinning bloodbuster off the top rope onto Americano. Lee and Americano now face off. Lee hits a sit-out powerbomb, and Julius hits a shooting star press on Lee, and everyone is laid out. Wild flies over the ropes on Brutus, and Del Toro clotheslines Julius off out of the ring, and it's a top rope corkscrew splash off the top rope. Ivy now gets Americano, and he hides it in his mask. Americano climbs the ropes, and Mysterio tries to stop him, but is headbutted. Lee joins Americano on the top rope, but is headbutted as well. Americano hits a top rope headbutt on Lee and gets a win. So winners are American Made and El Grande Americano. Anyways, Gunther is seen backstage walking with a big smile as he heads to the ring. After commercial break, Gunther makes his way out to the ring. Gunther stands on the announce desk and taunts the crowd. Jey Uso's music hits, and Uso heads down to the ring. From the crowd, Gunther stands in the ring and laughs at Uso as he takes his time getting into the ring. Uso knocks Gunther's mic out of his hand, and the two are staring at each other. Gunther is still laughing and smiling, and Uso looks pissed. Uso gets his mic and shakes in the ring. Uso asks Gunther if he has a brother or a mom. He asks Gunther if he talks to his mom and what they talk about. He asks Gunther if his mom talks about regular family stuff. He tells Gunther he has a mother too, and tells Gunther what they talked about this week. He had to talk to his mom about Jimmy Uso getting 15 stitches and is laid out in a hospital bed. He says his mom asked why he didn't protect his brother. He says he told his mom he's afraid of Gunther. He tells Gunther that he's playing chess and Uso is playing checkers. And Gunther had to get his family involved. He talks about Gunther beat up Jimmy while he was tied to the ropes, and Jimmy and says Jimmy's blood is on his hands too. Uso says he is pissed off, angry, and scared. He tells Gunther he made Uso's whole world and heart stop for violating Jimmy. He tells Gunther all this made a light bulb go off in his head, and he realized he's not afraid of Gunther anymore. He tells Gunther to hug and kiss his family before WrestleMania, and says that night before WrestleMania, Uso will pray for Gunther and more so for him, and ask the Lord to forgive him for the man he will become. He says he will get Gunther for him and his whole family, and will take the championship from Gunther, and slams down his mic. Gunther looks rattled, and Uso leaves the ring. Oh man, I can't wait for that match. Alright, after that, Adam Pearce talks with Maxine Dupree and Natalia. They talk about the gauntlet match, and Rey Mysterio comes by and tells Pearce that El Grande Americano is a disgrace to the Lucha Bre, and asks for a match. And Pearce agrees, and Mysterio says he wants to face Americano at WrestleMania, and Pearce makes the match official. Alright, next match coming up, WWE World Tag Team Championship match. The War Raiders were the champions. Eric and Ivar versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Man, a lot of reading. Alright. Sorry guys, it's not being so stupid ass keep popping up. Shit. Alright, anyways, Kingston and Ivar start the match, and Ivar tackles down Kingston, and he's sent out of the ring. Uso and Kingston regroup while Eric is tagged in, and Woods is tagged in. Woods attacks Eric from behind and stomps on him. Eric chops Woods, but Woods punches him out in the corner and tags Kingston, and they take turns tagging it and out stomping, and punches Eric. Eric breaks free and tags Ivar, who splashes Kingston and then tags Eric back in. Kingston is body slammed, and Ivar is tagged in, and they both slam Woods and Kingston. Eric slams Ivar onto Kingston, and Eric sends Woods out of the ring, and Kingston rolls out of the ring. Eric and Woods fight outside the ring, as do Ivar and Kingston. Ivar runs and slams into Woods into the barricade, and we cut a commercial break. We are back to Raw. Woods punches out Ivar in the corner. Ivar tosses Woods down and sits on him. Kingston and Eric are tagged, and Eric takes down Kingston and suplexes him. Woods runs in, and Eric takes him down too. Eric slams down Kingston and tags in Ivar. Ivar slams Woods, and then Kingston is taken down by the War Machine, and Woods breaks the pin. Woods brings a chair into the ring and goes to hit Ivar, but Ivar smokes Woods with the chair, and the ref sees it and calls for the belt. Damn. So winners by disqualification in New Day. After the match, Kingston hits Ivar with a chair, and then the New Day attacks Eric. Kingston sits a chair in the corner, and they drive Eric into that chair in the corner. They send Ivar over the barricades and grab more chairs. They set another chair in the ring, and it placed Eric's head on the chair, and Kingston goes to hit him from the top rope, but officials run down and make the save. All right, last match for the night. Fourth match: Penta versus Dominic Mysterio with Carlito. All right, hold on, guys. A second. All right, Mysterio was wrestling in fuzzy boots, and the men lock up at the bell. Mysterio taunts the crowd, and both men exchange holds and start chopping each other. Mysterio gets Penta on the mat and punches him over and over again. Penta is clothesline against the turnbuckles, and Penta comes back with punches to Mysterio. Mysterio takes down Penta and slams him into the turnbuckles and unleashes some punches on Penta. Penta takes down Mysterio with a hurricane and then hits tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and then a slingblade, sending Mysterio out of the ring. Penta splashes onto both Carlito and Mysterio, and we get commercial break. Come on. Alright. Back on Raw, both men are on top turnbuckles, punching each other. Penta knocks Mysterio down and jumps at him, but Mysterio kicks him and then hits the three amigos and covers for a near fall. Mysterio trips up Penta for a 619, but Penta super kicks him and kicks him into the corner and does a handstand kick onto Mysterio and covers for a near fall. Mysterio kicks Penta, and it's a Mexican destroyer on Penta and hits a 619 and tries for a frog splash, but Penta gets his knees up and covers Mysterio for a 2 count. Penta slams Mysterio down. Penta slams down Mysterio and hits the Penta driver for the win. So winner is Penta. After the match, Carlito attacks Penta and hits a backstabber on Penta. Mysterio and Carlito stop and beat Penta. This calls out Braun Breaker. Carlito runs out to attack Breaker, who comes running and spears Carlito. Mysterio goes after Breaker in the ring and is speared as well. As Penta is gaining up, Breaker spears Penta too. Breaker poses in the ring with his belt, and Finn Balor comes in and takes out Breaker with the net breaker, and then Breaker and grabs Breaker's title and taunts Penta, and then realizes the belt as though he is the champ. As this is happening, Breaker gets up and goes to spear Balor, but Balor runs out of the ring before he can spear. Alright, returning for commercial break, and stressed Paul Heyman is in the ring. He starts by saying a few things to get out of the way. He says he will always be loyal to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns. He says he will always be loyal to his best friend, CM Punk. He says because he's loyal to both of them doesn't mean he'll be disloyal to either of them. So when it comes to WrestleMania, he wants to get one thing perfectly clear. And Seth Rollins interrupts. Rollins gets on the mic and says, tonight it's not about him, but about Paul Heyman. He says he's here to ask the one question everyone wants the answer to, and asks Heyman, whose side is he on? CM Punk's side or Roman Reigns' side? Roman Reigns. He says Heyman is trying to convince everyone and himself that he can be both of their sides. But last week, Rollins realized he's on neither side. Rollins says Reigns doesn't give a damn about Heyman and is just using him. He tells Heyman is like to help, and that's how Reigns sees him and doesn't respect him. He talks about how when Reigns left after losing his title, he pawned Heyman off to Solo Sikoa and asks how that worked out for Heyman. He says he watched the new bloodline treat Heyman like crap, and Reigns never came to his rescue. He then brings up CM Punk and how Heyman and Punk are best friends. He talks about when Punk left, he didn't take Heyman and try to tear down everything Heyman was trying to make happen here. Rollins talks about how he was the first choice to team with Reigns at War Games and how Punk was the last choice. He tells Heyman he didn't join the team to help his best friend, but did to get a favor out of his best friend. He says he feels bad for Heyman, and that's he's between a rock and hard plays, and the easiest solution is if he removes himself from the situation entirely. Rollins says he understands Heyman doesn't want to turn his back on his best friend and Tribal Chief, and if only there was a way to remove him from this situation. He says he can remove Heyman from this and with one big stomp, and no one is here to save him. Rollins starts pushing Heyman and lightly slapping Heyman, and which hit he gets rougher and rougher. Heyman tells Rollins to not put his hands on him again. Rollins attacks Heyman, and Punk runs out and spears Rollins, and the fight goes into the announce area. Punk slams Rollins into the steel steps and then goes to stomp him onto the steps. Rollins runs into the ring, and as Punk runs in, Rollins stomps him onto the mat. Heyman goes to check on Punk, and Rollins goes to stomp Heyman, but doesn't connect. He tells Heyman that now Heyman owes him a favor and leaves the ring as the show goes out there and stuff. So, man, I want to see that match so bad. Oh, man, I can't wait for that match. Damn, the way he said it, I was like, holy shit, like, I was like, damn, like, and I can't wait. Yeah, I can't, that's gonna be a hard one and stuff because, man, they're, all three of them are good, and, yeah, so I can't wait to see what happens at WrestleMania and stuff. So, yeah, anyways, that was his first video. Hope you like it, not whatever and stuff. So, I didn't get no reviews from SmackDown and, Dynasty at all, so, yeah, but I don't know. I don't care what you guys do. But anyways, that was his first video. That was it for this video. Hope you like it and not whatever stuff. So like, subscribe, hit the button, leave a comment. If you guys want to leave a comment stuff, I don't care what you guys do. And that was it. And I'll see you guys in the next video for AEW Dynamite. All right, laters.